It's hard to imagine, but just 3 years ago, this golf course was so flooded, water would reach up to my knees. Fast forward to today, this golf course sits atop of a massive flood control channel that will bring peace of mind to thousands of residents. The club at Sunrise is not just a beautiful place to golf. It's the home of the Regional Flood Control District's largest project. More than $100 million was spent to make this area safer from flash flooding. With all the construction finished, the golf course reopened in July, and the community recently came out to celebrate.
We didn't have a lot of money, but we did cobble it together because we said if we're going to spend $100 million redoing the floodplain from here all the way into the city of Las Vegas, we ought to at least make sure that the neighborhood is something that they're proud of, that they could use. You can rent it out. That was something that came from the stakeholders committee. KME's design incorporated some of the old history that's there. And we voted on, the group from the neighborhood voted to name the clubhouse the Winterwood Clubhouse and rename this as the Club at Sunrise. And so that it's a new fresh start.
Construction finished in June of 2015, but the golf course just reopened this summer. And the best news is that floodwaters now stay right in these channels.
These channels have already been tested. As you probably know, the Las Vegas Wash and the Flamingo Wash both flow through this golf course and converge right over here by the driving range. A lot of flow comes through this area. So it was a big challenge to get this project done, as the commissioner mentioned, and as Jane mentioned, there's a lot of coordination that had to occur. At least 6 public agencies were worked on this project, as well as all the dry utility companies that had to all get together and bring this project to fruition.
In 2012, a landscaper working in this golf course was swept away by floodwaters and killed. Dozens of homes were severely flooded. Residents needed answers, quickly.
But when you think about the amount of work that was involved in this project, essentially, we had to remove the golf course, we had to lower the golf course, then we had to put the golf course back, and in addition to that, we had to remove and replace the Sahara Avenue Bridge, which was the choke point in the flood control system. That's a tremendous amount of work to get designed. It started construction in November of 2013 and was completed in about 1.5 years.
Once the flood control was finished, the county worked with a golf course architect to make sure the course was a great place to play and not just a functioning flood channel.
I really believe that this will be a demonstration project for the whole country, where we take a concrete box channel that's very much needed, particularly where tight constraints are, and then it opens up into a grass golf course. But the grass channel is reinforced with a reinforcement mat underneath it. No one knows it's there, but it allows the water to flow at high speeds without eroding. Although it's designed for huge volumes of water, and then we see it at least 7 times a year, when you stand at any tee or at any landing area, you see only a very small snippet of the channel. It's not the predominant thing that I think everybody thought we would end up with. So it's really interesting just how it all works out.
Floodwater will still come through this golf course. On any day, you'll see urban runoff trickling through. But the golf course is especially designed for the water.
The official name is Seashore Paspalum Platinum TE, and it is owned. The rights are owned by a company out of Florida. It's an unbelievable grass. We are the most inland course that is all wall-to-wall Platinum TE. It's salt tolerant, so it allows us to use repurposed, reclaimed water that's high in salts. It thrives on it, and it uses less water. We also reduced the acreage, so basically only within the 100-year storm event limit is where we were able to, is where we sodded. The rest is decomposed granite. So we could save anywhere from 70 to 100 million gallons of water annually, which is saving 1/3 over what most courses would use on this acreage that were wall-to-wall grass. So sustainability is not something that we just say, we actually live it. And so that's going to benefit with lower green fees in years to come.
The entire neighborhood seems to have a fresh set of paint. Now that the major flooding risk is gone, homeowners have been sprucing up their properties. Roughly 1/3 of homes near the golf course have recently been renovated. And the best news of all is that FEMA is removing the flood zone in this area. By the end of September, residents in this area won't be required to buy flood insurance.
The other benefit that we don't get as much publicity on is this has traditionally been a flood area, a flood zone. And to a resident, to a homeowner, that means just insurance rates through the roof. But what this project has created is now 1,400 properties in and around the golf course have now been taken out of the flood zone. FEMA has now made a determination that those properties, as of September 22nd, will be taken out of the flood zone. They will not be required to have insurance. We always ask our residents to check into it, because even if you're outside the flood zone, you can still take a look at the risk and reward. But outside the flood zone, and this determination now makes it affordable. It's almost $1 a day if someone chooses to do that.
Flood control channels built here certainly did their job on June 30th, when monsoon season started with a fury. Channels like these are no place to be during a storm. Firefighters actually had to rescue 2 people right from this very channel. On June 30, storms in the Spring Mountains created runoff that drained east, right where other storms were dumping rain. The combination was deadly, and washes quickly filled with water. Some roads were closed and intersections flooded for a brief time. People continued to make bad decisions. Here at Warm Springs in Eastern, drivers still try to go through moving water. The water on the streets was temporary, but within an hour, it was mostly all in washes and channels, and that's where it posed the biggest danger. Stephanie White, age 29, was swept into National Golf Course, where she was pulled out of the Tropicana wash by golfers. She succumbed to her injuries the next day in the hospital. Sharon Naruma, 54, was a homeless woman living in the tunnels when water swept her away. Her body was found the next morning. Firefighters also rescued 5 people, 2 dogs, and a cat during the flood event. This video taken at the club at sunrise shows firefighters pulling 2 people from the Las Vegas wash. The water began as a trickle through this area, and within seconds, it was moving fast enough to sweep a person away. The floodwater in this channel is also full of debris, including shopping carts and other large items that can slam into anyone unlucky enough to be in the water. The flood happened just one day after the district held its annual Flash Flood Awareness press conference. It was almost as if we predicted it.
While the technology to monitor the weather has become more advanced, we can still use one of the oldest tools available to us to mark the start of monsoon season. We have all this equipment you see here behind me that the Weather Service uses to monitor the weather, but what I use in my office is the calendar. So I circled July 1. It's amazing to me. I've been working in flood control in southern Nevada for 24 years, and just about every one of those years we had monsoon moisture come in to the valley either a week before or after July 1st, so you can mark your calendar by it. It's pretty amazing to me that that happens every single year.
The press conference was held with our partners at the National Weather Service to inform media and the public about the dangers of flash flooding and the tools to keep them safe.
We hope that each family takes notice that the monsoon is about to begin, and to prepare and to start thinking about how they are going to deal with flooding when it occurs. The best way to stay out of harm's way is not to drive into floodwaters that are moving. It doesn't matter how deep they are, the best advice is just to turn around and to not get into trouble.
The partnership between the district and Weather Service helps provide life-saving information during flash flooding.
This was no more apparent in 2014 during the Moapa flash flood that wiped out a section of I-15. It was the flood control's rain gauges that alerted our forecasters that the amount of rain that was falling was going to create significant flooding and impact Highway 15. That prompted or gave our forecasters the confidence to increase the flash flood up to a flash flood emergency and get the word out in advance. Every event that we have here in the local area is influenced in some way by our partnership with the flood control and other local emergency management personnel.
First responders discussed just how dangerous floodwaters are.
We want to reinforce that the citizens of Southern Nevada do not go anywhere near moving water for any reason during a flooding event. It is unbelievable how fast and how powerful water is. Even a little bit of water moving at a rapid rate can sweep a grown adult off their feet, can wash a car down a stream, or you can get on a slippery grass slope at that golf course, so to speak, that's right behind us, and slip right down into the water. It's incredibly dangerous. I have personally, over the last 27 plus years, been involved in dozens and dozens and dozens of rescue operations, some of which right there at the Desert Rose Golf Course, because I spent a lot of my career on that side of town. It happens very fast. The victims always realize that they thought they were good, they thought they were okay, and then all of a sudden they're in a real bad situation. So we want to encourage everybody to stay away, turn around, don't drown, follow those good ideas, and don't become part of the problem, thus creating a response for us where we have to then put our men and women from the fire and police agencies here in town into danger to try and rescue them.
Chief Castle was involved in the rescue the very next day and was almost able to save one of the women who ended up dying. It's a sobering message during the flash flood season.
We'd like to remind people not to take the weather lightly. You really need to respect these storms and understand that these flows are dangerous, and you should try to stay out of those flows whenever possible. The flooding is dangerous and it can kill you. Our mission right now is to make everyone aware of these dangers, and keeping people away from floods is a key element of our mission. It's something everyone who works at the district takes very personally.
Lake Mead is full of life, a seemingly endless aquatic parade, attracting and sustaining busy desert creatures. It's one of the most diverse ecosystems in Nevada, with species found nowhere else on Earth. But every time soap suds run down your driveway, oil drips in the streets, fertilizer washes off your lawn, or random trash gets swept in our storm sewers, their home gets a little uglier. They get a little sicker. If we don't take simple steps to change our ways, soon you'll wonder where all our friends have gone. It's time to clean up our act, Southern Nevada. To get your home or business lake-friendly certified, visit belakefriendly.com.
Mind the road. Flash flood season is here.
We have all seen the devastation that floods can cause to homes and lives in Clark County. Has your neighborhood or home ever been affected by major storms? Federal flood insurance is a smart and cost-effective investment if you think your home is vulnerable. Some easy-to-understand assessments can help determine if you need flood insurance. Call your insurance agent or call 1-888-CALL-FLOOD or visit the Regional Flood Control District's website for guidance. See if flood insurance makes sense for you.
Fast-moving water is deadly, and those who save people that are caught in it are some of the most well-trained first responders in Southern Nevada.
Rope! Rope! Grab the rope!
So this is a swiftwater awareness. We have a technical rescue team that are technicians in swiftwater, but the whole department as a whole has awareness on swiftwater because they're first responders as part of our training. So we come out here and teach them the basics that are going to save their lives and hopefully save those people that fall into the river or creek or swift water when it rains in this town. But our main purpose is to teach our guys what they need to do to keep themselves safe so that we can help the public.
Firefighters are the first responders and possibly the last hope for those washed away in a flood.
First of all, we don't want to get in the water at all if we don't have to. That's our very last resort. If we can reach somebody we want to reach, if we can't reach them, then we're going to have a throw bag and throw to them. Getting in the water is actually the last thing we do, but if we have to, then we teach them the technique. It's called shallow water crossing. So you're fighting the current of that water coming at you. So it's the more people you have, it gives you a little more, first weight in the water, but also gives you some stability, having either a tripod effect or line of stern is what we call it when they're straight in line. And they can actually, the first guy in the front's going to use a stick or a pike pole or whatever object we have to kind of feel the water and keep his grounding, to keep that tripod effect. And then the guys behind him are to help stabilize him. Plus it's going to take more than just one person to grab a victim, fight that current, and get him out.
The water in the lazy river goes about 3 to 5 miles per hour. During a flood, it's easily moving past 18 miles an hour.
You got it. Get over it. Get over it. All right.
You know, as kids we play in the water and we think it's fun to jump in the creek and get on a tube or something and float down, but when it rains in this town and it all starts at the north end and converges to the valley, you're not going to survive that.
Firefighters train at Wet and Wild or at the Mandalay Bay Wave Pool in town and head to Laughlin for the Colorado River training.
So it's easy for someone to get trapped in there, and we need to be able to respond quickly and efficiently so that way we can stay safe and we can help the public out if they've gotten themselves in a predicament.
In the Lazy River, firefighters practice how to safely float down a wash, feet first to protect against debris in the water. This training is valuable for all first responders, as even a small storm can cause big trouble.
Basically, anytime it rains like a good downpour, other than like, you know, a slow drizzle, we have swift water in this town.
So you'll have to go do some type of rescue every time it rains?
Yeah, every time it rains.
This season's first major flood was especially dangerous for those who live in the flood control system. 2 women died when waters rushed through the channels they were in. While advocacy help is available, many people choose the freedom of living in the tunnels.
There are tunnels all over this valley. The Mobile Crisis Intervention Team works above ground and below ground. The scope is broad and the mission it's huge. Look him up. We're going to be back at 1:30. We're going to bring him and 4 other people food. Let's see where he's at on the housing list or if we've got services for him. You guys need to start up with him. Let's make sure that that guy is all right. Okay, give me a sec.
Lewis and his team head underground every day into these dark tunnels under the Strip, looking for anyone who will accept their help. They make up the Mobile Crisis Intervention Team with help of Southern Nevada.
He's been living there for I don't know how many years, dude. It would be interesting to see if he made it, though. How you doing, bro? Yeah, I'm with the outreach team. Hey, man, you remember me.
Lewis comes by to check on this man every day, and every day he rejects help.
We'll keep coming back because we know one day it's going to be the yes. And as soon as the yes occurs, we're able to spring into action and we're able to deliver those services in a really efficient manner.
And Lewis may have never thought he would receive a yes from this man, Ricky Cole. He's lived in the tunnels for over 20 years.
I go, don't come down here, I'll throw a chair at you.
Ricky was the harder nut to crack, and there was a whole lot of going down there and a whole lot of us just meeting with him and maybe giving him some food items or bringing some water or giving him some bus passes to get to an appointment, assisting him with his food stamps and all of those kind of things so that we could prove to him that, like, look, we don't want anything from you. We want to help you, and we will say what we do, and we'll do what we say.
Ricky was forced into the tunnels after a drug problem took over his life. He lost everything and had nowhere else to go. So he set up his home underground and became set in his ways, hopeless of a better life. But Lewis and his team had a better plan. They never stopped trying, and over time were able to build a relationship with Ricky and eventually gain his trust.
We have been working with him for approximately 7 years. He is a couple of weeks from graduating from HVAC school, and that is a significant step and a significant improvement in regards to his, where he came from and where he's going. I mean, it's amazing. Who would have thought that he's never missed a day of school, and he's going to graduate at the top of his class.
Ricky is focused and staying on track, and thanks to Lewis and his team, on his way to achieving his dreams.
Everything is lining up for him, and just with the school and everything, I mean, it's just evident. He's highly intelligent, he's highly motivated, and so probably he's in some uncharted territory, which I would call the land of success.
It's a good future. I set blocks for me to step on. If I stay on these blocks, I'll get to where I'm going, which is probably my own company.
Ricky has been housed by help of Southern Nevada and now lives in an apartment in the Arts District downtown. He's drug-free and has been out of the tunnels for almost a year. Tunnels never intended for housing, but built to protect our city from raging flash floods.
You hear it's like an earthquake. Just brace yourself. there's nothing you can do. You try to get out, but you know there's a wall of water coming through the tunnels. It hurts because you're turning in the water and the rocks are coming in and pounding you too. When I got out of the water, I was fully dressed, had boots on. I was asleep during that flood, but when I got out of the water, all I had was my pants, my cell phone, because it had ripped all my socks and shoes off.
And it was because of rain Ricky was forced above ground. This is when he ran into Lewis at a nearby McDonald's and decided it was time to accept help.
You have to meet the client where the client's at. And you have to kind of feel them out and see what's going on. And then from there, you have to kind of develop like, let me help you with this and let me help you with that. And then you hit them with the big thing. Okay, let's get out of here. My name is Lou. All right. Are you sick, bro? You know, I've seen you're sick. That makes me a little nervous. Do you need to go to the hospital?
He has a friend. Try to help you. He's one of the, out of this program, one of the few people I truly look up to.
Tagging along with Lewis, watching him reach out to our homeless population, it's clear he's passionate about what he does. He's driven, loves his job, and is determined to make a difference.
Because at one time in my life, I was homeless. And the fact of the matter is that at a very critical point in my life, there were people in my life that didn't give up, and I was an idiot. And because of them, I'm here today. So every time I go out, every person that I encounter, I see myself and what I went through and the opportunities that I had. So this isn't a job for me. This is a mission, and I'm the luckiest guy in the world because I get to do what I love and I get to actually help people every day. You don't need anything else? I know we've talked to you before, man, and I don't want to push anything on you, bro.
Lewis and his team are one-stop service providers for the homeless. They are highly specialized and show up offering just about any service someone who is homeless would need, and these services are set up on the spot.
We've been working with them for a while.
Andrew is part of Lewis's team and has been working this camp down in the Wash near Caesar's Palace for years. He's built relationships with the people here. They trust him.
I'll come back.
Yeah,
Me and you can sit down.
Yeah, I'd really
figure it out. Okay. You're gonna be all right. All right. You're gonna be okay. All right. I'll come see you. I'm gonna be back later with food anyway. I love it. This is my passion. This is what I come from. These are my people. So that's why I do this.
Homeless at one time himself, Andrew has empathy. He knows what it's like living on the streets.
If he wants to, I'll take it over. We'll do your housing assessment, pre-engagement, make sure you're on HMIS. I remember my first day, the ride home, I just couldn't believe that somebody would actually let me come in for work, as a job, to be paid to do this. I mean, it just was the best feeling ever. I remember I rode home and all night all I did was look for encampments.
Lewis and his crisis intervention team have made contact with just about every homeless person living underground in the 200 miles of flood channels that snake through the valley. And the team doesn't plan on stopping until these tunnels are empty.
How about this? How about if I give you one of these? And then if you do have a problem or if you need me to assist you with what we just talked about, dude, just call me and I'll come and get you.
With monsoon season upon us, it's important that residents stay well informed and use common sense. You can stay well informed by downloading our Flood Spot app or following us on Twitter and Facebook to get up-to-the-minute information.